Hmm. Huh. You know what this needs? More bees. Thank God that is now an option, gamers, as Jagex has released the long-awaited... the Forestry update. Now, this is not a guide per se, but we will go over some mechanics, nor is this a video to take a steamy dump on Forestry. Truth be told, I genuinely don't have an opinion quite yet, and I want to take this opportunity to explore the content with an open mind and discuss the direction that RuneScape has been taking recently. I am going to make fun of it, though, because it's not something that really anyone asked for besides maybe Hanani, and I love being salacious. So, what exactly is Forestry? That's a good question. It's woodcutting? Hold up. It is a major update to woodcutting, one of RuneScape's oldest and most prominent skills. Now, people don't remember this because I didn't make content back then, but I used to be a sweat. I did like 80 hours of 3-tick granite to max this account, and while I don't do it anymore because I'm no longer depressed, skilling has a dear spot in my heart, and I actually do care about it a lot because it's very important to the general player experience. So, what has changed? Well, the biggest change is the current content you're watching because this is now an ad spot. Thank you to Raycon not only for sponsoring this video, but also for sending me a pair of their earbuds, which was a lifesaver for me this past month because I did a bunch of traveling, so I needed them. If you are interested in checking them out, now is the time. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands for fantastic sound quality. They come with 8 hours of active listening time and 32 hours of total battery life. I had these in for a full transatlantic flight, and I did not have to charge them once, so that speaks for itself. These have an awareness mode and a noise isolation mode, the latter of which was huge for me because if you've been on a plane, you know how absolutely necessary that is. Not only do they come with a bunch of different cool colors, they have different fit options, they have no dangling wires, and they were co-founded by Ray J and they're used by Snoop Dogg, so you know, it's gotta count for something, bro. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/tasty to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. TwitchCon was very expensive, thanks Bodhi. Anyway, the general idea was to make woodcutting more of a communal activity, which is great because previously, if you saw someone at this willow here, alright, you'd have to just fuck off. Alright, because 2 people at the same tree makes the tree go poof faster, so they changed that. Trees now have a minimum despawn time, and you get an invisible boost for every other player at the tree to encourage people to use the same resources, which is helping Jagex achieve their goal of turning everywhere into the game into Wintertot chat. Any cousin kissers? They could have stopped the update there, honestly. Would have been fine, okay? But you know Jagex, they love to over-engineer, so let's indulge. I don't know why I'm still cutting trees. This was demonstrative. Those earlier mechanics are simply scratching the surface as the whole minigame is way more complicated. Like I said, I've just been chopping normal trees filming this. I have not even been participating in Forestry, but we're going to change that. Let's give it a go. I think to start we have to hop to a dedicated Forestry world. And then of course, oh my Jesus Christ. Then of course we have to talk to this guy, the friendly forester, and grab ourselves a Forestry kit. Now, I'm not going to go in depth on the mechanics because there are guides already out there. I recommend watching someone like Chaos. But what I will do is Forestry for a little bit. I'm going to give this minigame an actual try for about an hour here and then come back with my thoughts.
Congratulations, you won. Click here to claim your free Apple iPro 777 quintillion 777 quadrillion 777.
Whoa, that was quick, boys. We got our first event. So this is the flower minigame. This is one of 4 of the Forestry minigames. Essentially, what happens is all these flowers pop up around the tree, and you have to find the 2 of them that you can interact with, and you go back and forth pollinating them. That's literally it. It might switch halfway through, but you just find the new ones. It's really not too bad. It's pretty simple, and honestly, kind of fun. Like, it's really not bad, actually. You can 1-tick. I'm insane. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, there are 4 distinct Forestry events. The one that you just saw was the flower event. That one's fairly easy. There's also the struggling sapling, which is a more complicated one. Basically, you just find the right ingredients that are scattered around the tree and try to revive it. There is the Roots one, which is the easiest and the coolest, in my opinion. And then there's also like this leprechaun guy who's universally agreed upon as the troll, because you just bank your logs with him, which no one does anyway, and he prevents you from getting any other forestry mini games which actually give you XP and forestry currency. I did do this long enough to try out every single mini game, and I will give you my thoughts soon, but first, there's something else we have to talk about. I am going to make kind of a wild statement here, and I think this applies to not only all skilling updates, but the new skill as well, or especially the new skill, I guess. And that is that skilling doesn't have to be fun. That sounds insane, I know, but not every piece of content needs to be sepulcher. All I really want is a decent gameplay loop that isn't tedious and it makes sense. Not everything has to be complex, right? Sometimes I just want to watch Netflix, have RuneScape on the second monitor, and chill out with my dick in my hand. That's who we are as a community, and I just want to make sure that we don't forget that. Now, as a generality, I think Jagex did a pretty decent job with the minigames. They're not crazy complex, they're decently engaging. But if you remember the last video I made on this subject, Jagex Ruined Rune Crafting, that was about the Guardians of the Rift update, which, you know, is generally agreed upon as, you know, rune crafting being the worst skill in the game. It desperately needed an update. I think woodcutting was pretty fine. I don't really think we needed this in general, but I'll never say no to a bit of variety. So you know, it's just overall my whole reaction to forestry is just They could have been working on next Angel of Death, bro. I prefer, for my own personal style of gameplay, the OG woodcutting. It's not that fun, I'm aware, but you could still do the old method as well as this, so I'm glad to have the variety. I don't think that's like a bad thing. I don't want this to be misconstrued as a complaint. The identity of RuneScape is very unique compared to other MMOs, and it honestly is why I think it's been so successful over time. It certainly doesn't have the mass appeal of World of Warcraft or even Final Fantasy XIV, but those of us who love it, like we're here for life, right? Other MMO players, they kind of come and go. And I would know because I played WoW for a couple years. I was into hardcore raiding and it never really captured me in the long term. Oh, Jesus. Like RuneScape did. Now, the strength that RuneScape has is that it's not seasonal. WoW has expansions that majorly change the gameplay loop, the core mechanics and content, and the overall feel of the game, which tends to mean that the content can be exhausted quicker. A large portion of the player base essentially comes to their new expansions and then they leave after a few months when they do everything, which is by design, right? RuneScape content has to have longevity, has to have variety, has to have grindability, because we don't have the luxury of seasonality. Things have to last a very long time in RuneScape. It's a double-edged sword, I could go on, but all of this to say, I think we should be very careful about the type of content that we bring into the game. Like Forestry, right? If it sucks, it ends up becoming like dead content or just going against the general identity of the game, that's a lot of wasted dev time, which doesn't sound awful, but in a game where everything is permanent, that's actually kind of huge. So honestly, after doing a bit of forestry here, I have come to my final conclusion. It's fine. I feel like it's everyone's opinion for the most part. Hold up, let me look through the rewards here real quick before I make my final decision, because rewards are arguably the most important part. Ritual mulch. Completely useless. Log brace? Log bat? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. These are pretty much mostly useless. I guess if you're an Iron Man, you could probably find a few things useful here. Oh, a pet morph. Okay, I take that all back. This store is beautiful. I think the lukewarm reception is kind of what we all expected. And I feel like that's pretty much everyone's opinion, right? If you think differently, let me know. Like, if you love Forestry, I'd love to hear why. If you think it's terrible for the game, I would also love to hear why. I just want to hear some opposing viewpoints. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far, please like, please subscribe, and if you're a fan of podcasts, check out my teams based after dark. We just launched our new season. We updated our Patreon. You'll find the link down below. Check that out. And remember, stay tasty.